Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Jom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Paravajakacharya Ashtotarhata Shishimad. His Divine Grace Abhay Charnaravind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Sthapitakacharya PBT Sthapitakacharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai. Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Srila Sachinandana Murti Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahasaya Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. We thank you all for coming for this divine appearance day festival of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. There are many contributions which he made to the modern Krishna consciousness movement. Srila Prabhupada himself says that he is the actual founder of the modern Krishna consciousness movement. We'll look at his life history. It's very inspiring for us to first of all develop appreciation for what Srila Prabhupada has actually given us. And secondly, we understand how, even though in our parampara system, there are some who are more prominent preachers and some who are not, still we'll understand, just hearing the pastimes of these elevated Mahabhagavats, how each one of them, they came and they preached and they spread the Krishna consciousness movement based on what was required at the time when they graced this planet. I'll read the pranam mantra for Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Srila Bhakti Vinod Pranati. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaurashakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who is the personified transcendental energy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is Gaurashakti. He is a strict follower of the 6 Goswamis headed by Sri Rupa. So if we look at our parampara, in the altar, we have Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And then next to Prabhupada is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Goswami Maharaj, the eternal spiritual father of Srila Prabhupada. And the one before him is Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, who is the spiritual master of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and the spiritual master of Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Is none other than Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he appeared on this planet in the year 1838 in a very wealthy family in the Nadia district, Navadvip. He was, his father was a very rich person. He was very well educated. And then he started to work in government postings in different capacities, eventually rising up to the position of deputy magistrate, which in current age or current time equal to high court judge. That's the highest position which any Indian can hold during the British government or British rule in India. So he climbed all the way to the top of the career ladder, which any Indian could have actually dreamt of in those days. So he was very, very successful professionally. Now when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world 500 years ago, he came and he spread the glories of the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Eventually predicting Prithvite Achayar Nagaradigram Sarvatra Prachara Hoibe Moranam. In every town and village, my holy name will be heard. And then he went. Now within 200 years, it's mentioned in the history of our Gaudiya Sampradaya, within 200 years after the disappearance or after the Prakrita Lila manifested pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there were 13 Apasampradayas. From the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left to the time when Bhakti Vinod Thakur came. And most of them were Sahajiyas. Sahajiyas means, in our Vaishnava philosophy, there is 2 ways of executing bhakti. One is Vaidhi Bhakti or Vaidhi Marg, path of rules and regulations. And the second one is Raganuga or spontaneous devotion. Now as a result of somebody performing Raganuga Bhakti, one eventually comes to the platform of realizing who they are in the spiritual world. So that's like the topmost epitome of one's realization in performance of Bhakti Yoga. Sahajiyas are those who prematurely jump to that platform. Suddenly somebody thinks, well, I'm a gopi, so they start to dress in sari, even though he was a male. And somebody thinks, I'm a peacock. New York! So they start to make sound. like that. So they go around causing disturbances. It's not authorized by the scriptures. It's premature. Most important point to notice, it was never sanctioned by Krishna, which means it is not pleasing Krishna at all. Bhakti is meant for pleasing Krishna. But between that time, 200-250 years, they were close to 13 Apasampradayas. So when Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur came, by that time, the original authentic Krishna consciousness movement, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started, it wasn't prominent. It was hidden. It went into oblivion, so to speak, temporarily, for some short time. And so is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace. When river Mother Ganga, she changed the course and she completely flooded the area, completely covering the birthplace, Yogapith of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, away from material mundane vision. So it is at this point when Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he appeared. So we can understand there was no authentic Vaishnava establishment for him to practice Krishna consciousness under. People were not favorable, and even the places where originally Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he performed his pastimes, is no longer visible to mundane vision. That is the situation we have to understand. So he was born in such a situation. When Srinivas Acharya, he writes about the Sadgoswamis in Sri Sadgoswami Ashtakam, Nana Shastra Vicharanai Kanipunau Saddharma Samstapako. He writes that the 6 Goswamis, they are very experts in scrutinizingly studying all the scriptures to establish the real principle of religion to the entire humanity. And the real principle of religion is to love God, as Prabhupada would often quote. Religion means, the real purpose of religion is to love God. And they were scrutinizingly studying each of those different scriptures to establish that as the ultimate good for the entire humanity. Now Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur did exactly the same. And because by the time when he was there was all these Apasampradayas that were quite prominent, the real Vaishnava Siddhanta went into oblivion. He took up this mammoth task of studying all the scriptures, re-establishing the actual process of Bhakti Yoga and make it accessible to a modern man. During his lifetime, he wrote more than 100 books, authentic spiritual books. Srila Prabhupada quotes elaborately from Amrita Pravaha Bhashya. So that's the commentary which Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur wrote on Chaitanya Charitamrita. He wrote a commentary on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So he gave a profuse contribution in literature. And in such a situation, he was born as Kedarnath Datta. He married Bhagavati Devi, and they parented 10 children. His 4th son is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So at that time, when all odds were against him, he started to systematically establish the authenticity of Krishna consciousness. First in Orissa, Bengal, in that whole area. Initially when he was posted in, as I said, in different government posts, in different capacity, and his job actually took him to different places. So wherever he went, he did his best to establish Vaishnava philosophy, Vaishnava lifestyle, and Krishna consciousness wherever he went. So when he goes to a place called Champarana, he comes across a popular belief from the local people that there is a big banyan tree infested by a ghost. And whoever prays to this ghost would be benefited by this ghost going and influencing the judge of the local court. So let's say if there is a murderer, he kills somebody, and he wants to escape. So he'll go and pray to the ghost, and the ghost will go and give trouble to the judge, and the judge will then, just to come out of the trouble, he will pronounce the judgment in the favor of the murderer. Okay, so basically that was the case, and he was posted in such capacity there. When he comes to know about it, he then arranged for regular recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam continuously, And after some days, one day the banyan tree fell apart. And then the ghost just got liberated simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam, Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada says in the second verse, the very second verse of the entire Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, second verse, that by submissively and attentively hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is established in one's heart. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, we can see, during his lifetime, that's the scripture he read the most. He preached from Srimad Bhagavatam, he read it very extensively. I'll read out his schedule. Every day he used to read for close to 2.5 hours. So he was very much appreciative of the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then later he, as we said earlier, he climbed up the corporate ladder, or climbed up his career ladder. And then he was given the post of a deputy magistrate. And he comes back to Orissa. Now in Orissa, there was a famous Sahajya guru by name Bishakishana, who claimed himself to be incarnation of Mahavishnu. And he had two other sidekicks, who he called incarnation of Shiva and Brahma. So with two of them, he formed the holy Trimurti, or the Trinity. And he claimed to have different tantric power, and because the British were ruling India at that point of time, they wanted, somehow or other, they wanted to send British away. So all the different small-time kings nearby, they used to supply him with wealth, with women, whatever opulences he wanted, hoping that with his psychic power, or with his siddhi, mystic power, he'll be able to drive out the British. Of course, he couldn't do. But when the British government, when they come to know about it, they send Kedarnath Datta, which is some Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, to go and deal with this person, particular person. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur goes to him, and then he tells him, like, what you are claiming yourself to be Mahavishnu, but you know clearly you are not so. So please give up everything, and then stop all these debauchery activities which he was doing, because he was having illegal affair with many women, cheating the people. He was doing practically what a normal henchman would do, but under the name of an incarnation, divine incarnation. And then, because then he didn't comply with the regulation which Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur put, so Bhakti Vinod Thakur immediately got him arrested and put him in jail. And because of that, there was a big turmoil around, and a lot of his supporters, they came demanding that the government actually release. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was the magistrate at that point of time. Still, he was very bold, and he took him to the trial every single day during the entire hearing. Now, during that time, what happened is Bishakishana, using his mystic power, he started to attack different family members of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Kadambini, one of the daughters of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, she contracted illness that took her almost to the point of death. And then Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's wife, Bhagavati Devi, she got afflicted, and then Bhakti Vinod Thakur himself got afflicted. But Bhakti Vinod Thakur, still he says, even if it comes for me to sacrifice my entire family, I'm happy, but anything in the form of irreligion shouldn't be tolerated at all. So he was very, very bold. We can understand the boldness which he demonstrated, which was later imbibed by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and later by our own dear Srila Prabhupada also. They also were very, very bold. They didn't budge for any external pressure. And then finally, the judgment came out that he has to be jailed. But then when he was in jail, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he got his head shaved. Apparently all these tantrics, they would acquire all this mystic power, and the potency they would store in their head. That's why they have the matted hair. So he got it shaved. And now the Bishakishana, he was completely powerless, and he couldn't accept his new lifestyle anymore. So within a month, he consumes poison and he commits suicide in jail. And thus Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he boldly brought irreligious practice to an end. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he had a lot of plans how he would like Krishna consciousness to be spread to every town and village. Not long before Srila Prabhupada was born, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he predicts in one of his articles that soon there will appear a personality who would travel to different countries in the world and who would spread the holy name of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in every town and village. He predicts about Srila Prabhupada also. And in the 9 islands of Srila Navadvip, Dham, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he had his residence in Surabhi Kunj in Godrumadvip. How many of you have visited? Prabhu is from Dham. So if you visit Godrumadvip, you can actually see the house of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So he was stationed there, and then he would go around excavating different places, associating with the Vaishnavas there, writing prolifically. And when at one point of time during his career he wanted to give up his job and then take up full-time devotional service, his superiors didn't accept him because he was very, very efficient in his judgment. Because of his purity, he could clearly see through and he will pronounce judgment very, very quick, flawlessly. So it would be too much of a loss for his superiors to cope up in his absence. So finally they come up with the arrangement that they would transfer him close to Mayapur, to Krishnanagar, but his house is in Godrumadvip. So the British Raj, they put a dedicated railway line that would come all the way right to the doorstep of his house in Godrumadvip. If you go even now, you will see the rail coming very close. So he was such a exalted, distinguished personality. In that sense, if you see, rarely you will come across a personality, even from historic perspective, someone who has been adored so much by everyone, by sadhus, and as well as by the foreigners who were actually invading the country. So that was his very distinguished position, we can clearly see. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's, it was mentioned, he says the seventh Goswami. As I said, the Goswamis, Srila Prabhupada says that they were scrutinizingly studying all the scriptures and they were establishing the real religious principles. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, following the principles of the 6 Goswamis, he also studied all the scriptures very scrutinizingly and he established the real dharma of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I'll read his daily schedule. It will give you some idea how much, you talk about time management, you will see how much expert he was in this. 8 to 10 p.m. he would rest for 2 hours. So 8 o'clock at night he would start, 10 o'clock he finished resting, night 10 to morning 4 a.m. he would write. And then 4 to 4:30 a.m. he would rest, half an hour. And then 4:30 to 7 a.m. he would chant japa. 7 to 7:30 letters and correspondence. He would write letters to different scholarly persons, different Vaishnavas. 7:30 to 9:30 in the morning he would sit and read Shastras. Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. He would study Shastras from 7:30 to 9:30 in the morning, and 9:30 to 10 he would take bath and he would take prasadam. His prasadam was 1 fruit, 2 chapatis and half a liter milk. And 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. he would go to court, finish his duties. 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. he'll come back home, he'll refresh. 2 to 5 p.m. again he'll go back to court. Then 5 to 7 p.m. he'll translate Sanskrit Shastras to Bengali. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he was well versed in 7 languages actually. Bengali, Oriya, then we have Bengali, Oriya, English, Sanskrit, then Persian, Urdu, Latin. So he is very expert in different languages. So from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the evening he would translate the Sanskrit Shastras to Bengali. And 7 to 8 p.m. he'll take bath again and prasadam exactly same as the morning, except that instead of fruit he would take rice, half a liter milk, rice and 2 chapatis. So his summary daily schedule is he sleeps for only 3 hours, he writes for 8.5 hours every day. His japa for 2 hours and study for 2.5 hours, and his work is only for 6 hours. But that was enough for him to efficiently manage all the other tasks which he have in his professional side. So he wore tilak and he wrote many songs. There are 3 primary contributions which even historians, they say of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. First one is he wrote 100 authorized spiritual books. And the second main contribution is he is the one who actually identified and discovered the place of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance place, or the Yoga Pita. If you go now, you will see. And the third is he introduced the Namahata preaching, or Bhakti Vriksha. If you read a book called Godruma Kalpatavi, that was written by him, so there he gives a blueprint how following this process of Bhakti Vriksha or Namahata, wherein you go reach out to people, few people, and you tell them about Krishna, and each one can in turn go tell other 5 people on Krishna. Likewise, you can actually engulf the entire world, entire planet with Krishna consciousness. So he was such a visionary. So his third main contribution was he introduced many innovative ways or innovative ideas when it comes to preaching Krishna consciousness. Now on the point of him discovering the appearance place of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one day when he sits in his home, in the veranda of his home, he looks, so his home is actually on the banks of Ganges. On the other side of the Ganges, he sees like an effulgent light coming. And he doesn't know what is happening there. Why is it so much effulgent light coming at night? So next day he goes there and asks the local villagers, why, I saw something special here, what is so special about this area? And the place was owned by local Muslims, and the landlord, he comes and tells him, I don't know, this land is very useless. No matter what crop, what seed I sow, they don't grow at all. But somehow only tulsi grows, even without sowing. And they grow in abundance. And it's when Bhakti Vinod Thakur also looks everywhere around, nowhere else is tulsi, but except in that place. It grows like a weed, literally. And then he starts to access all the maps from the geological department. And then he sees how, if you go now to museum, you will see how even the map of Australia has changed over a period of time due to, they even say tectonic plate movement and everything. But there in Navadvip Dham, because Mother Ganga, she changes her course. She's a personality, so she's not very stereotyped. Sometimes she goes this way, sometimes she floods also sometimes. Basically, that's what happens. Because she changed the course, the original birthplace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is covered, submerged in water, and people lost track of that. And over a period of time, they were worshipping Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace as elsewhere, in opposite bank, actually, in the other side. And then he studies the map, and then he finally spots the place exactly from where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared on this world. Yoga means connection, Pita means the place. So technically Yoga Pita means that place which connects the material world to the spiritual world. That's the meaning, technical meaning of Yoga Pita means. And that's the appearance place of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So finally when he discovers, first of all, through local knowledge he checks, and secondly through maps he checks, and he sees Tulsi also there. Third proof, fourth proof, he sees effulgence coming there. Fifth and final proof, he goes and he approaches his spiritual master. Now Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he took initiation from Bipin Bihari Goswami. He is his Diksha Guru, but his Siksha Guru is the one in our Parampara line, if you see, the one before Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur is Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Now Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, at that time he was past 100 years, 120 years actually. Some devotees say he is blind. He was actually not blind, but his skin became so soft, his eyelid used to actually cover him completely. And if he has to see, he has to open his eyelid like this with his hand, and then he'll see and then he'll close. But he was chanting japa 24/7. So 6 months he used to spend in Navadvip and 6 months he used to spend in Vrindavan. So he himself, Bhakti Vinod Thakur himself meets Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj in Vrindavan only. So as a final proof he wants to bring. And then by that time he was past 120 years and he was carried in a basket by his disciple, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj's disciple. And then they finally bring him to this place where the Tulsi Maharani, she has grown in abundance. And as soon as Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, he looks at the place, immediately he jumps out of the basket and he starts to jump up and down, chanting, Gauranga, Gauranga, like that. And then he takes that as a confirmation. Now, even though he was very influential at that time, he could have gone and approached wealthy people to build a temple, because now the place, exact place is identified. He wanted to now establish the eternal worship of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his own dham. Even though he could have used his influence, what he did was exhibiting humility, demonstrating his humility. He went literally door to door asking people to give 1 rupee every house. Knocking on the door, asking everyone for 1 rupee. So he collected with so many people and then put all the money in. With that he built the temple. So current day temple, if you go, you will see. So that was his contribution. And he established the worship of Vishnupriya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. Vishnupriya is the eternal divine consort of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he established the worship there. And then later he, after establishing the worship there, he then goes around preaching in different places. His method or mode of preaching was very simple, very practical to people. And in order for the common man to understand all the scriptures in a very simple way, he started to write Vaishnava bhajans, asking or promulgating the glories of the holy name, enthusing the people how chanting the holy name is very important. Even the very song that we sang at the start of the class, Jai Radha Madhav, was written by none other than Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur never used harmonium for kirtan, nor did he allow, primarily because he thought the harmonium can actually distract us from hearing the holy name attentively. He wrote so many instructions on how one should take full shelter of the holy name, how one should chant the holy name attentively. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then he wrote a lot of instructions on how one should actually chant the holy name. And many of the books which he translated, even if you take Srila Haridas Thakur, as Harinam Chintamani, that was translated by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Likewise, there are so many Vaishnava books which he wrote commentary on, making it accessible to everyone. And one of the other ways or innovative ways how he reached out to local people is re-establishing Namahata. As I said, Namahata technically means the marketplace of the holy name. So Namahata structure is that everyone in this society, irrespective of one's birth, they can assume or accept a role in a marketplace where a holy name is actually sold to everyone. Sold in the sense, everyone can become an agent of the holy name, which means first you will have the holy name, you chant the holy name, and then you can share it with other people also. So likewise, he gives this whole blueprint, and he assumes the most humble role in that entire framework, and he says himself as the sweeper of the holy name. And whoever has little shraddha, little faith, that is the price, or that's the currency one has to pay in order to get the taste for the holy name. So he insisted a lot on attentive chanting, especially on japa. And there are many verses that he wrote, encouraging the reader how Lord Krishna, even though he is staying in his eternal abode, he still made himself accessible to every jiva in this material world in the form of Nam Prabhu. And he wrote a lot of commentaries even on different pastimes of Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita, for example, where he elaborately writes about the different anarthas which we have, which one can get rid of by attentively hearing the pastime of Krishna killing each and every demon. Okay, like Putana, for example, she depicts false guru, or Trinavrata, he depicts dry mental and philosophical speculation, so on and so forth. So he gave a lot of insights in that. Another innovative way how he reached out to a common man with his weapon of holy name is he wrote books prolifically, and he also started to send it, even though at that time the Krishna consciousness movement which he established, it was prominent mainly in Bengal area during Bhakti Vinod Thakur's time. Still, he started to write books and he sent out to different universities abroad also. Later, when Prabhupada's disciples, they go to different libraries trying to get standing orders to sell entire sets of Srila Prabhupada's books there. They come across universities where Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur had sent books 200 years before, McGill University, for example, in Canada. When they go, they were surprised to see a book that was sent by Bhakti Vinod Thakur to that particular library, but he wrote it 200 years ago. And the title of the book is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His Life and Precepts. So that's the book which Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he sent. And Prabhupada sent that the year when Srila Prabhupada was born, which is 1896. And that's exactly the same year when Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur also sent that book. So Prabhupada says there is a historical significance. Prabhupada himself acknowledges that fact. That Prabhupada says that I take that as a blessing. That the same year when I was born, that's exactly the same year when Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he sent the book also. He started the book distribution, practically. So, and later on, following his footsteps, his son, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he also wrote prolifically. He also focused more on Brihad Mridanga than any other type of worship. In addition to establishing 64 different matas throughout India. And then later, his disciple, founder Acharya of ISKCON, His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Ravinda, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. He then expanded it to every nook and corner of the world. Now, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he took different roles. As I said, as a magistrate, how he was very efficient. He was able to give judgment very efficiently. He was able to curb all the irreligious activities. As a preacher, how he reached out to different people. As a writer, how he did. As a family man, how he managed his life like that. Now, as a father also, you can see, Srila Prabhupada writes in the famous verse, Guru na sasyat, svajano na sasyat, Pita na sasyat, Janani na sasyat, Daivam na sasyat, Pati na sasyat, Nam mochayadya, Samupete mrityum. One should not assume the position of a guru or a relative or husband or wife or a demigod. Okay, if he cannot deliver the person to go back to Godhead. Now, even in the personal life of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, we can see that his son is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Now, he established his kutir, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, in Godruma Dvipa. Now, when Gaurakishore Das Babaji Maharaj, when he comes to Mayapur, in the proximity of where he is residing, he builds a kutir in his courtyard. If you go to Godruma Dvipa now, you can still see the bhajan kutir of Gaurakishore Das Babaji Maharaj also. And Gaurakishore Das Babaji Maharaj would sit and attend the Bhagavatam class of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, taking his siksha. Now, even though technically in one sense he was an illiterate, so to speak, he was very well versed in scriptures, Srila Gaurakishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, as a very responsible father, he tells his son, which is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to go and take Diksha or initiation from Gaurakishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur goes and approaches him. Now, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he is a very illustrious personality. He mastered the entire Gita when he was barely 7 years old. And when he was barely 17 years old, he mastered all the astrology, actually releasing even his own monthly periodical on astrology. It's only due to his work on Surya Siddhanta, the celebrated astrological work, that he actually eventually got the title Siddhanta Saraswati. So he was such a big authority, mastered Vedas, and he was very well versed in scriptures, had a very good command in English language. Now, despite his exalted position, still Bhakti Vinod Thakur encouraged him to go and take shelter of Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, who technically can say, well, he's illiterate. And that's exactly the reason which Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj gives Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur first time when he goes and approaches him. So he says, after all, I'm an illiterate, how can I actually do? People will laugh, so I won't accept. Then he goes back to Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Dad, this is what he said. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur sends him again. No, you go back. And he insists. Ask him again. Second time he goes. This time, Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj tells him, all right, I'll ask Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comes back home. Third time he goes, again consulting with his father, which is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Third time he goes, and then Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj replies, well, I forgot to ask. And then he begs, cries, please ask him, without worship, without the mercy of Pada Tuli of Sri Guru, how can I go back to Godhead? How can I progress in my bhakti? How will Krishna actually recognize my service to him? So please accept me as your disciple. He says, all right, I'll try to ask. Now, this is the point I wanted to highlight. Now, third time in his unsuccessful attempt, he comes back to his father, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur tells him, all right, go to him again, ask him. If he doesn't accept, don't come back home. So as a father, he knows he could have actually initiated him. Okay, he himself was a great spiritual personality. But he took a very humble stance, and he let one of his Siksha disciples to be the guru of his son, even though materially or even spiritually he was very well qualified. And then fourth time he goes, and then finally Gaura Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, he accepts him. And once Bipin Bihari Goswami, who is the Diksha Guru of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, once he visits his home, and then Bhakti Vinod Thakur, as one would worship their Diksha Guru, he pays obeisances to him. Now as he was paying obeisances to him, Bipin Bihari Goswami, his Diksha Guru, to bless him, he puts his right foot on his head to bless him. Now Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur watches that. He was barely a little boy at the time. And then Bhakti Vinod Thakur goes inside to fetch something to offer him to eat and drink. In that gap, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur goes to Bipin Bihari Goswami and he tells him, why are you so impudent that you think you can actually put your foot on my father? Do you know who he is? He is in his humble stance, he is coming and taking Diksha from you. But what made you think that you are so superior to him? Do you know who he is? He is an eternal associate of Shri Radha and Krishna. Like that. And then later when Bhakti Vinod Thakur comes back, he tells him that your son is so bold, so much so that he is even offending your guru, like that. But Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he later actually acknowledges to one of his acquaintances, one of his friends, that before he begot Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as his child, he was praying to Krishna, praying to Lord Jagannath to send a ray of Vishnu so that he can actually propagate the movement after he passes away. And true enough, that's exactly what happens. Okay, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a child prodigy when he was born, in every aspect. He was expert in his kirtans, expert in his philosophy, expert in his command on language, expert in astrology. He was so qualified. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, you can see Srila Prabhupada himself also says that in the purport when Prabhupada actually writes about how in Krishna consciousness, even if you do very little service in this life, even if we can't attain 100% perfection, let's say we finish only 10% now, we die, it's an eternal benefit. In next birth, we'll still be in a favorable condition. If we don't make it, we'll start from 11% onwards. Prabhupada says that. So there Prabhupada writes, by will of providence, I was born in such a Vaishnava family where the situation is very favorable to practice Krishna consciousness right from childhood. And he said, similarly, my spiritual master also, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he also had that opportunity to be born in such a great Vaishnava family. And by will of providence, we both met. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he started to help Bhakti Vinod Thakur even when he was a small child in his book editing, in printing books. And Srila Prabhupada said, my father is Jagmohan De. He was very devoted to Lord Krishna, to Radha Govindaji especially. And Srila Prabhupada says that I learnt everything from him. How to sing kirtan, how to cook, how to worship, how to do japa, everything. So there is only one thing which my father didn't teach me, which is how to print books. That I learnt from my spiritual master, spiritual father. But then if you see where his spiritual father actually learnt it from, he learnt it from Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, one of his very famous lines is, he reasons hill who tells that Vaishnavas die when thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread the holy name around. And Prabhupada also, you can see, echoes similar mood, that I will live forever in my books, like that. So Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he is the one who started this propagation of Brihat Mridanga, or book distribution. And then later on, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur took it further to rest of India, from Gaudadesh, and then Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, he took it and he spread it to every nook and corner of this world. So on this auspicious day, Srila Prabhupada always says that on Vaishnava's appearance and disappearance day especially, we can appeal to them directly. Usually when we pray, our prayer goes to our Diksha Guru, spiritual masters, and then to Srila Prabhupada. Directly any prayer we offer every single day, we offer to both of them. But for other Vaishnavas, especially on their appearance and disappearance day, we can make a direct appeal to them. So on this auspicious appearance day of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, we can pray to him to give us at least a drop of taste for chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And give us at least a little appreciation for all the scriptures, especially Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita. And that way, we'll be able to not only be happy ourselves, but armed with the knowledge of Krishna consciousness as well as the holy name, we'll be able to touch many people in their lives, bring about a lot of change in their hearts, and then we can bring Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur's prediction a reality, how this whole world is actually being meshed or encircled by a network of devotees throughout. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Avirbhav Maha Mahotsav ki jai, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Radha Gopinath Bhagwan ki jai, Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So now it's in 2 minutes we'll have the Arati, and at 7:30 we'll be doing the Pushpanjali to Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, facing the Vyasasana there, and then followed by Guru Puja. So please do stay back and participate in offering flowers to Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and we'll be having Guru Puja Kirtan also. Thank you very much for coming. Hare Krishna.